We've got exposed brain.
Demon dogs.
Pool party massacres.
We've even got towel whipping.
Is this the dumbest Freddy movie ever?
Or is it a misunderstood masterpiece?
Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 2.
Hiya guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to be reviewing A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. This one takes place 5 years after the original movie. Nancy is nowhere to be seen, and we've got a new antagonist called Jesse, played by Mark Patton, who has now moved into Nancy's old house. Now, how do we know it's Nancy's old house? Because it's the only house in the world with green tiles on the roof.
Yeah, and how come her house has become like a haunted house? It's like a nice house all of a sudden. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I love this film. Well, I used to love it. I kind of fallen out of love with it over the years. It's a weird one.
I was going to say then, I love this film.
No,
Do you?
I have seen it a lot of times, but I have. It's a weird one, isn't it? At least.
It definitely is. And we're definitely going to deep dive into the weirdness of this movie.
Yeah, and I think the franchise, even though it was strange, they kind of nailed Freddy and the franchise in the first one, but
Yeah.
they for some reason decided to change direction, even though the formula was pretty perfect in the first one. It's weird.
No, of course. And they didn't only change the formula, they undid everything that Wes Craven did in the first movie, and that's why he refused to be a part of this one. I mean, they even went as far as starting production without Freddy Krueger, without Robert Englund, because they refused to meet his demands or up his pay. So they went, we'll use someone else. I can't remember the guy's name, but they did start production. They ended up sacking him and bringing Robert Englund back and meeting his demands because
He's just too good.
you can't do it without him, man. He'd become too iconic.
Well, let's start talk about Jesse. Jesse's the main protagonist, not antagonist. You said at the
Oh,
start.
for God's sake, man.
Although he's kind of one if you've seen the film.
Why didn't you
Kind of
correct me back then?
Because I want to make you look stupid. I love it. Because I always look stupid. I can never pronounce names, so you're having it.
I edited the video, boy. I'll AI.
No way,
I'll
you-
AI it.
You better not. Make me look
It'll be a sentence, right? And then it'll be antagonist.
Jess.
I said it wrong again.
Yes, you did.
Right, let's go back now. Let's go back, right?
Oh yeah, I thought you were going to say go back and change it. No, you're not changing it. Right, Jess, he's the lead character, okay? Now, he's a badly written character, right? For the one reason that at the start of the movie, they're on the school bus, right? And he's a complete nerd with a nerdy hair. I know it's a dream sequence, but they're trying to establish that he's this recluse, introvert kid who's shy, he's got strange hair. And then
Black eyes.
when the film starts, then he's like almost like a jock. He's got a really fit girlfriend. He's quite popular, and he's quite tough as well. I'm like, is he a nerd? As if they didn't really know he wanted a little bit of everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. It's definitely weird when, like you said, it opens up on that school bus scene, which
cool
obviously we get to see Robert Englund without the makeup on.
Yes.
Now, when this movie came out, I don't reckon anyone knew that was Robert Englund, just a random guy driving a bus, probably. No, he's too big. You're like, Robert Englund.
Yeah, maybe they hired him as the bus driver. Look, we can't afford you to, as Freddy. You could be a bus driver, and then they kept it in.
that scene came first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a very odd character, and I thought, because I don't remember, I hadn't seen this film for years, and when I saw him on the bus, I thought, I just remember him as a nerd. And as the film came on, I'm like, he's not a nerd. He's not even slightly a nerd.
Yeah, and that girl is die hard for him as well.
And
she forgives a lot of shit.
She's a terrible actress. I mean, I don't know if it's just her or the sort of the script,
Well,
but
she was only cast because she looks like
Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep.
She is a dead ringer. Like a
Yeah.
dead ringer for Meryl Streep, to the point when I watched it years ago, I thought it was her young. I thought, it could be her. Could be when Johnny Depp was in the first one, you know?
Yeah. I'm pretty clued up, but I had to double check. Like, that could be Meryl Streep.
It is. It's a spitting image of her. She looks a little bit like the girl from Truman Show as well. I forget her name now. She's in Californication. Natasha, something her name is. Funny name.
The one from Ozark. She's in Truman Show. Truman's wife.
Yeah, she's. Oh no, not her. No, the one he fancies that she's like not part of the show.
Yes. He has a memory with her. Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's an odd film. Now, my favourite part of this film that makes me keep going back to it, not the towel whipping bit. Nothing wrong with that. Is Freddy's makeup.
Yes.
It's the best of the franchise, including Freddy vs. Jason. Do you agree?
100%. I was watching it last night, and I couldn't believe how great he looked. Now, this isn't one that I've gone back to loads. It was almost a fresh movie watching it last night. Growing up, I think I skipped this one a lot. It was always 1 and 3. So I kind of treated this one like a chore because I never got on with it when I was younger. I put it on last night and I did treat it like a chore. I quite enjoyed it. But yes, Freddy's makeup in this movie is insane. There's one scene in particular which blew me away and is probably the scariest Freddy's been.
Yeah.
Is when he grabs Jessie by the throat downstairs. It's quite early on in the film.
By the staircase.
Yes. And he says, "You've got the body and I've got the brains." And he
peels it back, yeah.
But there's that scene, but there's a scene where you've got a closed in shot of his eyes and he's got red eyes and you can see how great the makeup is because there's a bright light on this, you can really see the details. Yeah. Oh my God, by far the best Jason Freddy's ever had.
And what I love about it, his makeup looks wet as well. It just looks oily and wet, and there's nothing come close to this makeup. But I suppose the first films come close because you don't see it as often. And I think as the films go on, his makeup looks a bit drier, not so good.
Yeah, of course.
But he looks like, it's not my thought, but people compare him to a witch. He's got the pointy nose in it, and he just looks fucking evil, isn't it?
Yeah, pure evil in this one. It's great. Like I said, I was watching last night. I was like, I can't believe how good he looks. Now, it's a shame it's one of the weaker Nightmare on Elm Street movies because there is so much going for this film. I just feel like they made a lot of wrong choices in this one. Particularly, my least favourite aspect of the movie is the lack of Freddy. Obviously, because he's kind of come into the real world in this one. So he's controlling Jessie, and Jessie's the one doing the killings. Where it's the whole Jason Goes to Hell thing, you know, when he takes over someone else's body. We watch these movies for these killers. Now, I know a lot of people prefer Freddy to be in the shadows and not to see him too much, but I've kind of grown accustomed to seeing the guy, and I like that this one's got more of a horror element. You don't see him much.
Yeah.
But majority of the time he's inside Jessie's body. Now, it does make some great scenes, but that was like my least favourite part of the movie.
I know what you're saying because it's like, yes, you don't see a lot of him, but at least in the first one, like you don't see a lot of him in the first one, but at least he is the heart of all the kills. It's not like Nancy's killing people and taking away some of his limelight.
And all the kills are in the real world. There's not one dream kill in this movie.
Is that right?
Yes, there isn't one. 13 people in the movie, all in the real world, not in the dream world.
Yeah, it's his performance as Freddy is top notch. Okay, it really is, and especially towards the end. We'll talk about the end a little bit later, but I want to talk about the weird part of this film, and we mentioned it at the start with the towel whipping. Now, there's a very homoerotic element of this film.
The S&M bar.
Yeah, and you don't even know if it's a dream because it's very dreamlike when he first goes in. You think, oh, is this a dream? But it really did happen. But it's very odd, isn't it?
It is. Now, that's what I wanted to talk about in particular, right? Because I always found it confusing, right? He's definitely in a dream. He goes into this bar and then the coach is there and he's got like this leather vest on.
It's a gay bar.
Yeah,
totally.
But when you've got the scene then where he takes him back to the school and he's in the showers, now, this is absolutely a dream sequence, but the coach has got scenes away from Jesse and he's being tormented while Jesse isn't there.
Yeah.
And then it's revealed that Jesse killed him in the real world. It just gets a bit confusing. And that also means that Jesse was the one whipping his bum with a towel.
Well, I totally thought the exact same thing. I was thought, is this a dream? Because it's great watching it because I hadn't seen it for so long. I could ask questions. But I was thinking the same thing. There were scenes without Jesse. And I'm like, oh, it can't be a dream. Otherwise, how would we know what he was up to over there?
Yeah, exactly. It gets a bit confusing. And then, like, you've got the rabid birds attacking his father. There's so many in-world things. And it just undoes everything Wes Craven did in the first movie.
I looked into it, and the actor who plays Jesse I wrote it down, is a guy called Mark Patton, right? He's a gay actor.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, he is a gay guy. But he's not playing a gay character in it. He's clearly meant to be straight, although he's not doing a very good job of acting straight because he's very, very camp in it with his performance. But then there's gay undertones, and I don't know whether the film is trying to be clever or is it just pandering to his demands or something? It's very odd.
Absolutely intended, definitely. I know Mark Patton has said himself that he sees Jesse as a closeted gay, and there's definitely elements in there that show Jesse's gay. Obviously, he's got that love you, hate you relationship with, I can't remember the actor's name now.
Yeah, the good-looking guy from Vamp. I've forgotten his name as well.
Yes, and Weird Science.
Weird Science, yeah.
But yes, there's something going on there, and there's definitely so many overtones. I mean, that scene where he's dancing in his bedroom, and he's got this toy that he puts by his crotch, and then it pops. Like something pops out of it as he thrusts forward. I was like, oh, okay.
It's a very odd film, very odd. Maybe it's just like way ahead of his time, super progressive, or it's just a pile of nonsense. Who fucking
Definitely.
knows?
But do you know what? Like I said at the start, because I treated this like a chore, and I haven't watched it in a long time, I know me and you went back and forth where I was like, do we have to review? Like, we don't have to review it. It's our podcast. But you're like, no, let's do every Nightmare film. So I was like, all right, I'll watch it. Yeah. And you know what? I really enjoyed it for what it is. If you class it as its own film, just take it away from Nightmare 1 and Nightmare 3 for me.
Yeah, totally.
It's a solid horror movie. Like I said, it undoes a lot of things that Wes Craven built, but there's not that much wrong with it. Like, if you're really picky on the lore and how you want your Freddy movie to be, then yeah, there's a lot to hate. But I gotta say, I fairly enjoyed this one. And one of the scenes, if we want to start talking about the end, Jenks, is...
Well, before you go on to that, I wouldn't mind talking about the practical effects. Because I'd rather end the podcast with the end, because there's a scene I want to mention. The practical effects are top-notch in this film. Really good. Especially with the peeling of his brain.
Yeah, the best bit in the whole film is obviously when Freddy first gets revealed out of Jesse's body, and you can see his skin ripping and Freddy's sweater coming through. That horrible scene where the knives are coming through his fingers, and then that great when he just slashes his stomach and Freddy comes out. That, you've got to agree, that is probably one of the coldest moments from any Nightmare on Elm Street movie. It is so cool. It's so well done. And this film is just full of great, iconic scenes that involve practical effects.
The scene that it made me was when the mouth opens and
the eye.
You can see the eye or eyes inside. I can't remember now.
Yeah, just the eye. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, the ending. What are you going to say about the ending?
Yeah. So what I was going to say about the ending, right, is it's a weird one, right, because I kind of hate the ending, but I love it. Not quite the ending, but some of the final scenes. And it's obviously when Freddy crashes the party. Now, a part of me is watching and going, oh, I hate this because Freddy should be stalking people one by one in their dreams. No, he's in a pool party and he's just running through everyone and slashing them up. And there's that great scene where he puts his arms up and you've got the flames coming up behind him and he says, "You're all my children now." It's such an epic scene.
They're all about 30 as well.
Yeah.
You mean children?
the horror lover in me, right, who just wants carnage and gore, was like, oh my God, this is so good. And you just, when you've got all the teenagers up against the fence and they're all kind of cornered by him and he's just standing there. So good. So on one side, I hate it. On the other side, just to appease my twisted brain, I loved it.
Yeah, for me, I did like it. It's a cool scene, visually cool. Seeing that man with that jumper running around in the real world. But as a horror fan, as a guy who likes lore to be consistent, I was like, what? He's more dangerous in the dream world. Why is he fighting to be in the real world when he is like a god in the dream world? He's vulnerable in the real world. In the dream world, he's like a god. He's vulnerable in the real world. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah,
so it's one of many things that don't make sense in this movie. I mean, the movie is called Freddy's Revenge, right? And who's he getting revenge on? Because the first movie was about revenge because he was punishing all the parents that killed him.
Yeah.
Jesse's only just moved into that town. Yeah. So why is he punishing Jesse? It just doesn't make any sense.
Maybe it's just like Robert Englund's having revenge for almost not getting cast, and it's just like, I'm pissed off now. I'm gonna throw out the rule book.
Robert Englund's revenge is publicly saying Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 is his least favourite.
What, more than Part 6? Fucking hell.
It's his least favourite Nightmare movie.
There's a lot of things that broke the rule books, like you mentioned earlier, the bird, the budgie or something, and it just bursts into flames. And like, these are real world things. I don't get like why they're changing it so much. It's very, very odd, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. They just threw a lot of things at the wall in this one. Some of it stuck, some of it didn't. But yeah, overall, it's an awful sequel to an absolute cult classic. But it's a decent horror film, if that makes sense.
Yeah. The demon dogs, that I don't know what the fuck was going on there. I forgot they were in it, and I was like, what the... I don't understand what they're supposed to be.
It looked like a baby's face. I don't know. They did creep me out because obviously it's when she's going to like the boiler, the factory where Freddy worked in it. But yeah, that was just showing Freddy is in the real world now and he can manipulate the real world as well. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
But is it half dreams? Is it half dreamscape, half realism? I don't know.
Those demon dogs reminded me of that awful film Men, when that bloke's face was on the kids' faces and stuff, and it looked
even better. Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah. Is that happening?
Yeah. There's a dog with a human face, right, as if they've accidentally like taken over a dog and gone, dogs have a human face. Very creepy.
There's an odd moment as well, right at the end. It's a good place to kind of end things. Is she kisses Freddy, and it's very, very weird. It's really odd.
It is, and it's kind of like the Pennywise ending it. She just kind of insults him a bit just to bring Jesse back out, and then he dies, and Jesse's rebirth. Yes. You've got Jesse's rebirth.
Right. What's your favourite scene or kill, whatever?
So the best scene in the movie is a scene I've already talked about. It's when Freddy completely comes out of Jesse and cuts the stomach open. It's such a well put together scene. It's got some of the best practical effects I've seen. And it is probably one of my favourite Freddy moments. But my favourite line in the movie is just after the opening, and you can hear, we're in the kitchen with Jesse's parents and his sister, and you can hear him screaming from upstairs, and his sister goes, why can't Jesse wake up like everyone else? It's so funny.
Someone wrote that down.
Yeah.
Right, guys. If you haven't seen Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 and you've been avoiding it, just watch it. It's more Freddy. And you should respect Freddy 2, because if we didn't have Freddy 2, we wouldn't have Freddy 3. And they completely improved in every aspect, isn't it?
Yes, 100%, yeah.
Yeah. Right, guys, if you enjoy reviews, rankings, please subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.